So I know Valentine's Day has already passed, but since it's still technically February when I'm recording this and hopefully posting this, I am still wanting to lean into the love romance aspect of this month. So today I'm going to be talking about my favorite types of love interests. And basically this just means the character types that I love as the love interest and how that plays. So basically a character type is just a bunch of personality traits that consistently are grouped together to create this type of character. I don't know if I explained that well enough for you to understand, so make sure to let me know down in the comments if you want me to do a full video on character types. I can definitely do that. Now, when it comes to character types, it is a general type of character. However, it is not the only aspects of that character. There are always more that go into it. There's always more that creates their personality in them as a character. But a character type is a good way of getting a basic idea of what the person is like, surface level. Now, there are 7 on this list. They're in no particular order, so I'm just going to start off with the first one, which is the bad boy. So this is a character that is more rugged and delinquent-esque, but it is very different from an asshole character or an abusive character in general. I don't like abusive characters in any way, shape, or form, but I still like the delinquent style character, and I think they're fun to play around with. I think they're fun to write. I think they're fun to dive into and play around with how they became who they are, and if it's just naturally who they are and they are able to express that, or if there is a reason they became that way. But the bad boy is it is someone who goes against the social norms of that world and usually leans a little bit more on the criminal side. The second character type on this list that I absolutely love is the cinnamon roll. Now, this is a character that is sweet, kind, caring towards others. I usually see them as having a bubbly personality that is always smiles, always sweet and happy. Again, this is an outward appearance, so I do think it would be fun to dive into a cinnamon roll character that is only sweet and kind on the outside, but not on the inside. So I'm kind of like workshopping some future ideas with you guys. Often these characters are seen as innocent, optimistic, and selfless, and they usually have a tendency to put others before themselves, which is a common thing among the sacrificial side character. But I really do like this character type, especially in like contemporary romance. I think they are amazing and adorable. The third on this list is the flirt. Now, there's a difference between these characters being a flirt and harassing other characters. There is a huge difference between them, and it's good to get an idea of that difference before you dive into this character. This is a character who will often throw out pickup lines and acts a little bit more in a sexual, more touchy-feely kind of way. I personally like them when they throw in some puns. I personally see this character as someone who is very good at reading other people in the room and very good at backing off when they need to. And that is a good thing to have for someone who does back off and knows where to draw that line. Because when you have this flirty character who doesn't know where to draw that line, that is where you're getting more into the harassment area of things, and I don't like that. The fourth on this list is less of a character type and more of a character trait, a physical trait. And I love characters, especially in animation, that have dog or cat ears and features. I don't know why, but they are super cute, and I love the fluffy ears. Now, this is a little bit difficult to do just because a lot of the time at least from what I've seen, they end up treating them more like pets, which isn't the direction that I like taking it, or I like reading it in general. The little personality traits that come along with both cats and dogs, I think can work very well in animation. I'm not too sure about books. I haven't dove into it as much. I obviously have seen it in animation, especially anime, but I do think it's something that I want to look into and just play around with it. I do have a werewolf story coming up, and I'm still playing around with how they look normally. I might have them have wolf ears. I'm not, like 24/7. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So the 5th on this list is the villain. Now this is actually a villain. This is very different from the bad boy delinquent character. This is, in a fantasy book, the villain. And it's not necessarily a enemies to lovers, because I don't necessarily love that all the time. And I love the darker aspects of this character, and I love diving into their reasons for being a villain, why they're a villain, how they became that way. And I do think it is fun to look into and see all of the different aspects of that. 6 on this list is the friend. Now, I don't have a problem with best friends to lovers. I would prefer that not be the case, just because it is crossing a boundary that best friends have, and it kind of, to me, sets a precedent, especially in like straight romance, that guys and girls can't be friends without it crossing that level or that barrier of sorts. I don't like that, but I do, however, love them being friends first, because it has a sense of closeness. It has a sense of familiarity that meeting and then suddenly getting into a romance doesn't have. So I like building up the friendship first and then developing the romance later, but that's my prerogative. Number 7 on this list is forbidden love. Now, there are various ways that this can go, but I like that sense of conflict in the story and in the romance. I like the struggling to come to terms with this aspect. I know it's not a character type and it's more of a trope. However, I do think that there is a character aspect to forbidden love, and I think it's fun to explore that character aspect in forbidden love and not just the situation and the conflict and the trope of the story. I just think it builds and adds so much conflict to the story that, yeah, I like the depth of this aspect. Again, not a character type, more of a trope, but I needed to throw it in there. For all of these stories, I am a romantic at heart. I need a happy ending with any of these, especially a forbidden romance. There has to be a happy ending. So I'm an aspiring author currently working on my debut novel, temporarily titled Alina, and it is a fantasy romance. There is a lot of romance aspect. It mainly follows the romance with some world building behind it and some action and some stuff that happens. That was a bad way of explaining my book. I'll get better at it, I promise. I'm hoping to get Alina published this year, so if you would like to see my publishing checklist video, I will throw it up on the screen somewhere. I hope you guys had fun hanging out with me. Bye.